Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen, both and neither. To this, the first installment of our Epilogue episodes, exploring our characters in our ongoing Vampire the Masquerade chronicle, Sydney by Night, more closely. In the following, we will explore a deeper insight into the relationship between Kira Smirnova and Nicholas Russell, as well as some context between Kira and her sire, Isabella. I'm Aria, and I'll be your humble storyteller this evening. And tonight, I am joined by Ashley and Chagrazi.
Hello, I am Ashley of STR Gaming, and I will be portraying the role of Kira Emalia Smirnova of Clan Ventru.
And I am Chagrazir, and I will be portraying Nicholas Russell of Clan Gangrel.
The following scene is set in the past, when both Kira and Nicholas still resided in New York City, USA. We begin in Kira's private office, situated in the heart of Wall Street, where Kira and Nicholas are planning their next move.
Firstly, how are you, Nicholas?
I'm doing all right. I've been looking into the elements on the ground in Sydney. Got some promising leads, and so far, no Sabbat problems to report.
Incredible work. Thank you, Nicholas. That's good to hear. The last thing we need is spot problems. It's also good that we assess the situation in Sydney to the best of our ability from here. I've been doing some thinking about where we will call home and operate out of. I was thinking a nightclub as our haven.
Nightclub. Don't you think we should be a little more subtle than that? There's still going to be a lot of unknowns going into this.
Yeah, I agree about the need for subtlety, but this will bring in the human clientele as a perfect cover for the mundane world while sustaining ourselves and our potential business partners. Besides, who doesn't love a dance club?
I don't dance.
I'm not much of a dancer myself, but imagine the fun it'll bring. More eventful than the Ivory Tower, surely.
It just sounds like we'll need more security.
Indeed. I was thinking we could scout ahead and create dossiers of all the people we will need to employ for a safer business venture, and perhaps a driver too if things get too hairy. I also took the liberty of purchasing 5 other plots of land to better cover our tracks.
I ain't complaining, mind, but some people have too much money.
We may need to improvise and also maneuver around others aiming for political power. Even more importantly, I want us to forge friendships as we arrive, so that we not only have a working professional relationship at first, but also a trust.
Isabella arrives at the condominium where both she and Kira reside, which is also the location of Kira's office. Nicholas, can I get a wits and awareness roll, please?
Two successes.
You drop your papers to the floor as you hear the sound. It startled you a bit.
Shit.
What's
Gather
the
them
matter?
up quickly. Your wife.
The elevator dings when she arrives at the floor, The heavy tap of 5 heels follows and gets louder as she makes her way towards the office door and knocks. She is greeted by both Kira and Nicholas.
Hello, my love.
Isabella.
What's going on, my love? I'm a bit confused. Where are you going?
Nicholas, could you please give Isabella and I a moment of time to talk?
Of course. Straighten the papers against my chest and slide out onto the veranda.
Nicholas makes his way out to the veranda. It's a brisk evening, and there's not really much going on.
Isabella,
Yes.
do you remember all the times we wish the... Yeah, do you remember all the times we wish the Camarilla was better for our people and all the ones who were newly embraced into this life?
Yes, I do recall. But I'm still a bit confused. But I remember. Yes.
There's something I need to do to make that a reality. And in order for that to happen, I need to go.
Go? Go where? Why? Are you leaving me? I need to know where you're going. I need to know why you're going.
I'm afraid I can't tell you, my love. It's far too dangerous for you to know.
Kira, give me a charisma and insight roll. Contested against...
It's an insight, all right?
Contested against Isabella's composure and awareness, including hunger die. Okay.
All right.
So you got 1 hunger, composure, and awareness is... All right, how many successes did you get?
2 successes.
Okay, so it's an even contest. So, in that regard, Isabella responds with, I trust you, my love. I trust you with my life. Or my own life, I guess. I'm still pretty upset about this, but want to understand and needs to understand. Need to understand. Because I feel like I'm losing you. I brought you into this world and I would never want to lose you.
As she's about to respond, she starts to have a single blood tear just fall down her face, and she gets a little emotional. Kira responds with, what I need to do is going to be the hardest thing I have ever done. That could result in final death if I fail. If I succeed, it will be the biggest thing the Kindred world has ever known.
Isabella is understandably also emotional. A single blood tear drips down her face. She leans in closer and gives Kira a very passionate kiss. She is trying to ground herself and trying to understand, but she's been given limited information, so she needs to then say, I trust you, but you need to be safe, okay? I could never lose you.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
I love you so much.
She comes to and she collects herself and she realizes that she'll need to explain this period of absence to the court. She comes to her and she says, "What do you expect me to tell the prince when she realizes that you chose to leave the ivory tower?"
Nicholas and I have discovered a place in need of a Camarilla presence. A place where we can do some good.
I would love to know more and some context as to why you're leaving, but I can see you're pretty headstrong about this. I know you very well. So I know you won't tell me. She then very frustratingly...
Safe.
Yes. I know. She very frustratingly leaves the room and approaches Nicholas in the outside veranda. She says to Nicholas,
He's leaned over the railing there, looking down at the lights of the city. Seems to be contemplating an unlit cigarette. And he's leaning against the papers and folders that he had taken from the room. As she approaches, he, kind of straightens up and, keeping the papers tucked under his arm, he says, "Isabella,
so
are you all right?"
All right is a generous term, but in any case, I'm okay. You and Kira seem to be very set on this course of action. So, I need you to keep her safe. For me.
Of course. I mean, it's never easy anywhere in this world, but leaving a nest such as this. You have my word that I will do everything in my power to protect the both of us. I've actually put a lot of thought into this, Isabella. I may have some thoughts on how I can better live up to this promise I'm making you. But we'll need to talk to Kira first.
By all means. She gestures back towards the building as you to enter first. She closely follows. And you are both back in Kira's office.
He's going to look over to Kira and say, "Smoother than we hoped?" Questioningly.
Isabella looks towards Kira. Isabella looks towards Kira and she's just like, as smooth as it possibly can be, I guess. Look, all I
look
want
down in shame.
All I want is Kira to be safe. I need you to guarantee that for me, Nicholas. I need you to take care of my love.
I can promise you I would never do anything less, but the solution I have... Before I met either of you, there was a time in my own life where I was forced to work with the Sabbat here in California. Wow, we're not in
My eyes go
California.
wide.
Back in California. Back in
Okay.
California. And I don't agree with anything they stand for, but they do one thing really well that puts the Camarilla to shame, and that is protect one another. The cells in the Sabbat are all bloodbound not to their leaders, like in the hierarchy of the Camarilla, but to one another, so that in the field, when things go bad, or well, the people they work with most closely are always the top of their mind and the most protected.
Isabella looks towards Nicholas and she says, I think I know what you're talking about. And
I
while...
don't suggest it lightly.
No, and while I don't necessarily agree, I agree with the sentiment that is the best thing for you to keep my love safe. My love.
I didn't expect you to see it that way. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, well, considering the
Ada is still processing
circumstances...
this all. Oh no, go ahead.
That was it. That was what she's saying.
Kira just basically has her hand, her finger across her chin with her thumb against the edge of her chin. She's just taking this all in. She's processing, and what she knows of blood bonding, like the very little she understands of it, it's been used terribly. And it's been very controlling, but the way that Nicholas is describing it is so much more, symbiotic, so much more consensual and protecting. And she's just going to ask the biggest question on her mind. What happens when you are successfully bonded?
Similar to a normal
What
blood
does it all
bond.
entail?
Similar to a normal blood bond, you are directed by the blood to be concerned for, try and make decisions in the best interest of those to whom you're bonded. But unlike a normal blood bond, it goes both ways. We won't be able to use each other for our own personal gains, because we'll always be directed by the blood to protect one another.
As Nicholas is speaking, Isabella rushes over towards Kira. She holds her very tightly and gives her one last kiss. And she says, "Be safe, my love. I need to take some time to process this. I'm gonna go for a walk. I hope you're still here when I get back."
You have my word. I love you.
I love you so much. Then she very quickly departs the room. You can hear her basically sprinting for the elevator.
Under my breath, I'm gonna say always and forever.
Yeah. She would have noticed that. It's something that she would have picked up upon. She goes down to the foyer and she's no longer in the scene. She's going to figuratively get some air. And so now, Nicholas and Kira are alone in her office.
I won't lie to you, Nicholas. I'm admittedly hesitant on it because I've seen it only used for terrible things, but the way you explain it sounds better than I've ever heard. And I trust you more than pretty much anyone in this entire world, kind or otherwise.
I can only assure you two
And
things. That it isn't like a normal blood bond. It's mutual. And two, like a normal blood bond, if it isn't working, we can let it lapse.
Well, I know I don't say this often, but I want to be clear. You are so much more than a bodyguard or someone to protect me. You are a best friend, you are a brother, and you are family. And if this is a way to ensure both the safety of each other, but also for us to even be bonded closer, there's only one person I do this with.
I never figured I'd want for any family after the one I lost back west. But likewise, I would never have suggested this if you hadn't also become family to me.
I'm going to give him a handshake that goes into a hug.
He reciprocates.
I'm going to step away. I'm going to grab a couple of whiskey glasses. And I am going to actually grab probably some whiskey as well, just because I feel like it, I don't feel like I'll enjoy certain people's bloods. I have very specific tastes, so I'll have that as like a chaser or something even to mix. But I'm going to bring 2 glasses and a bottle of whiskey, and I am going to put that down on a table near us, and I'm going to then ask, all right, so how is this done?
Well, in the Sabbat, there's a whole lot of pomp, circumstance, a ritual dagger, some mystic words get spoken, but I've pared it down, and all of that's pretty much bullshit to keep the new ones in line. It really just comes down to our blood, a mixture, and trust. So,
We
at
can
the
make that
risk of
happen.
sounding like a cartoon movie, you trust me?
I trust you as much as I trust Isabella. You two are the only ones that I trust.
I'm sorry that it had to go that way with her. I'm glad she took it as well as she seemed to.
I had expected it to be so much worse, but I guess it remains to be seen. I know that in the time away, resentment will build, undoubtedly. But
Yeah.
This Nicholas is so much more important and so much bigger than we both know. If we can do this, this is going to change the world. This could change everything.
Yeah. I guess it could. I suppose I was trying not to let myself dream that big, but I don't know what the blowback on Isabella's gonna be, or when we'll have to deal with the fallout of this, but I just say, he says as he flicks out a folding knife and begins to cut his wrist for the vinculum. This is the first time I've seen a Ventru truly... He makes strong eye contact, he says, hurt herself to try to make the world better. I won't let that injury be in vain.
After he drains his blood into his glass, I'll take the ceremonial dagger, coat it in his blood. I will then slice at my forearm, because that's so much more safer, actually, than a hand, and definitely doesn't damage any nerves. And as I slice through, I let the blood fall into the glass, and I'm going to then say to the brother that I never had, to the brother that I've always wanted, to the only man I trust in this entire world, my commitment is to you. I let it fall. Let the blood flow into the cup. Place the dagger down. I clean up the blood a little bit. And then I raise a glass and switch it to his so we can properly have each other's blood. And I raise it up to him. And I'm going to say, Nicholas,
Yeah.
что бы всегда, if навсегда.
He blinks a few times at that, and then says, yeah, kampai.
It means to always and forever.
He seems taken aback at first, but you drink, yes?
To us and our future efforts. Что бы всегда, if навсегда. And then I drink all of his blood, and then follow it up with whiskey, because I'm very picky about blood.
Yours was given willingly, so he seems to quite enjoy that. As he sets the glass down, he's going to say, that's what you always say to Isabella. Are you sure you want to give those words to me?
It didn't even need this time to be so, but you've always been family, and this is the first example I can give that shows you my commitment.
That I could have met you 20 years ago. Let's change the world, Kira. For
Let's
the
do
better.
it.
For everyone.
For everyone.
Чтобы всегда... What?
Что бы всегда, if навсегда.
And see.
And thus concludes this Season 1 epilogue episode of our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Sydney by Night. You can catch up on Season 1 in its entirety right here on YouTube. And stay tuned for Season 2, airing on Twitch very soon. Finally, remember this: the Camarilla never truly fades, and the Sabbat never truly die. They're just missing in action. I'll see you next time darkness falls. Bye for now.